Hi everyone, we're Group 3. Today we're looking at Stuart Hall's 1973 essay, Encoding and Decoding in the Television Discourse. Hall's main idea is that communication isn't a simple loop where a message is sent and perfectly received. Instead, it's a complex process of articulations. He argues that media producers encode messages with a specific intended meaning, but audiences decode them based on their own social backgrounds. Because the producer and the viewer aren't the same person, there is often a lack of fit between the two, leading to what Hall calls systematically distorted communication.
Hall breaks down how we as the audience receive these messages into three positions. First is the dominant hegemonic position, where the viewer takes the message exactly as it was encoded. Second is the negotiated position, where you understand the general rule of the message but apply for own exceptions. Finally, there is the oppositional position. This is when a viewer perfectly understands the literal meaning but completely rejects the intended code, like watching a billionaire talk about the joys of hard work. And the coding, it has a corporate propaganda. In Hall's view, the audience isn't passive, they are active meaning makers. To illustrate this, Hall talks about how television uses signs that look like reality but are actually constructed. A new segment about a strike isn't the strike itself. It's a set of visual and verbal codes chosen by a producer. Because these codes are naturalized, we often forget they are biased. However, because our social situations, like our class or education, differ from those of the media elites, our decoding rarely matches their encoding 100%. This is why the same TV show can be seen as empowering by one group and offensive by another.
And this links directly back to the last week's lecture on J. David Bolter. Bolter argues that we have moved from an elite culture to a digital plenitude, where there is no longer a single center. In Hall's time, there were only a few TV channels encoding the world for everyone, which gave them massive power. But in Bolter's plenitude, the hierarchy has collapsed. Today, everyone has the tools to encode their own messages, on TikTok or Twitter, for example, in this case X. While Hall focused on how we decode a few big broadcasters, Bolter shows us that we are now drawing in a lumpy media landscape, where millions of different codes are competing for our attention at once. Let's go!
Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about the personal examples. I see this in how we consume cancel culture or viral clips. For example, when a brand releases a progressive ad, the marketing team encodes it as a message of unity. But on my feed, how the people decode it as authentic, dominant, while my friends might decode it as cringe or performative, the oppositional one. This connects to the current issue of political polarization Bolter mentions. Because we live in a plenitude when we can choose to only consume media that fits our personal codes. We no longer have a shared center to agree on, making Hall's distorted communication the default state of our internet culture. Thank you.
In reflection, Hall's theory is more relevant than ever. Even in a digital world with endless choices, the power still lies in who gets to define the code. While Bolter gives us the variety, Hall reminds us that how we interpret that variety is never neutral. Thanks for watching.